ঠিক আছে, আমি স্টার্টিং থেকে আরেকবার বলে দিচ্ছি। So at first, research design means we need to structurize the whole research work. Okay, what we need to do, that is the first thing, and that means this is the blueprint of our idea. Okay, that is the logical, the design is actually logically we can design it, not physically. So that means it is the blueprint for data collections or measurement and analysis. Okay, so this is the research design. So we have a structure. At first point, this is the structure within which research is conducted, that is research design, and blueprint for data collection or measurement and analysis, that is another thing. And the decisions regarding what, where, when, how much, by what means concerning an inquiry or a research study constitute a research design. Okay, so whatever the decisions you are taking according for your research work, so you need to do this type of, you need to follow this type of questions. That is what is actually you are want to do, where you want to do, when you want to do, and how much time it is required, and what means, what is the process, what is the procedure you need to follow. That is also very important thing. Next, what am I studying? Why am I studying it? Because before if you want to do any research work, so before the starting of your research work, you have to know this type of questions you need to arise in your mind, that why I am studying this thing. Okay, so that is the main thing. Where will I be studying it, and what is the nature of data I need? So to fulfill this type of operations, or to do this type of research work, what type of data we actually required, that is also important. And where can that data be found? Okay, so that is also the important factor, that is from what is the data source. Okay, so database is actually very important thing, because without data we can't do anything. So the data can be the free accessible data, or it can be we can take the data from some organizations. Okay, then what period of time will it take? Okay, how much time it will take to complete the research work? How do I collect the data? How will I analyze those data? Okay, and how will I present it? That is also important. Okay, so these are the previous questions a researcher need to face before do the research design. Okay, so that means this is a structure of overall your design, overall your research work. So that is design. Okay, so how you can fulfill the structure, you need to know the answer of these questions. If these answers of these questions are clear to you, then you can start the research at that time only. Okay, so here research design must at least contain a clear statement of the research problem. So there must be a clear statement of the research problem. The research problem must be clearly known to you. You should aware about that yes, this is the actual problem I want to solve. That is the main thing. And procedures and techniques to be used for gathering information. So how we can collect those informations, the process and the different techniques, that is also very important. And the population to be studied. What are the populations? That is also you have to know about that. The populations actually very important. So population to be studied, and methods to be used in processing and analyzing data. So different methods to be used in processing and analyzing data. So the data, what is actually you are collecting from different database or different resource, different source, then that data needs to be processed and analyzed. Research design can be split into different parts. It can be a sampling design, it can be observational design, it can be a statistical design, or it can be operational design. So different design techniques can be there. So for sampling design, it can deals with the method of selecting items to be observed for the given study. Okay, so sampling design deals with the method of selecting items. That means we have so many items, and from that actually the sampling is actually required some surveying. So you are surveying a group of people, suppose your users of your research work. Okay, so you have to survey, and from that survey you have to collect the relevant data, you have to select the relevant items. Okay, so that is a big issue. You have to select the items according to your research work. Okay, so that is called sampling. There are used data, and from that you are selecting some number of items. And observational design, that is relates to the conditions under which the observations are to be made. Okay, so this is the observational design. That means you should observe something. There are some observations. According to your observations, you are designing your research work. Then statistical design, it concerned with the question of how many items are to be observed and how the information and data gathered are to be analyzed. Okay, so that is the statistical design. That is, you have to follow some mathematical way to design your research work. Okay, and the different questions you need to arise, that how many items are to be observed and how the information and data gathered, that type of questions you need to face. And if you just get the answers of these questions, then you can design the research work. So statistical research work, statistical design needs to follow this type of question. Operational design, it deals with the techniques by which the procedures specified in the sampling, statistical and observational design can be carried out. So that is operational design. So different procedures what you are actually specifying in your sampling design, statistical design and observational design, that is there, and that technique and from what you are actually getting from this type of design, that need to be operate. So here the operations, that means you have to implement those things. Okay, so these things need to be implemented. So that is and there are the different observations also there. So this type of design, when you are want to operate and when you want to implement, that is the operational design. And finally you need to operate the whole things, no? You have to implement the whole things. So that is operational design. And research design is needed because it facilitates the smooth sailing of the various research operations. Okay, so there are different research operations are there. So this is the smooth sailing of the various research operations. So need for research design. This is the requirement of research design. That means you can do your work smoothly. It also makes research as efficient as possible, yielding maximal information with minimal expenditure of. Okay, so your research work, it must be efficient as much as possible, and you should collect maximum informations with minimum expenses. And your expenditure will be measured by effort, your time and money. These are the expenditure. Okay, so these parameters should be there, and so you need to your expenditure must be low, but your gain must be high. Okay, you can gain maximum information. So for that we need research design. Features of good design. So these are the features of good design. That is flexible. It must be flexible, it must be appropriate, it must be efficient, and it must be economical, it must be minimum bias and maximum reliability. So your research work must be flexible. If you design it properly, then it must be flexible and it must be appropriate to the point, and efficiently it can handle the problems what you actually pointing out, and it must be economical, that means cost effective, minimum cost and maximum means output. Okay, so it must be economical and minimum bias. There must not be bias. Okay, so maybe minimum bias can be there, but bias should be reduced. So minimum bias and maximum reliability. So research design can be different category. It can be exploratory, descriptive and hypothesis testing research studies. Already we have studied about that. So these are the exploratory research. The main purpose of such studies is that of formulating a problem for more precise investigations, and the major emphasis in such studies is on the discovery of ideas and insights. Okay, so exploratory research work is that we have to study the previous work and the previous problem, and then you have whatever you want to do, just follow the previous work, what is actually done, you have to start after that. You have to take the idea from the previous work. So that is literature survey we need to do. And the research design appropriate for such studies must be flexible enough to provide opportunity for considering different aspects of a problem under study. Okay, so exploratory research work, the research design appropriate for such studies, it must be flexible enough. It must be flexible to provide opportunity for considering different aspects of a problem under study. Okay, and there are three methods of research design. The first thing is the survey of concerning literature, the literature survey, this is the first thing. Then the experience survey and the analysis of insight stimulating examples. Okay, so different experience, the previous experience about the previous work, and analysis of insight stimulating examples. There are some examples, the case studies are there, you have to know about that. Okay, so three methods is required for exploratory research work, research design. And survey of literature, the survey of concerning literature happens to be the most simple and fruitful method of formulating precisely the research problem of developing hypothesis. So surveying is very much important. You need to do survey of concerning literature, what is actually done previously. Okay, and what is following some simple and fruitful method. Okay, so this is also very important. And experience survey means the survey of people who have had practical experience with a problem to be studied. That is experience survey. Okay, you have to work with those experienced people who have the practical knowledge about that area. Okay, so you have to just communicate with them, and then your research work will be a good quality of research. And the objective of such survey is to obtain insight into the relationship between variables and new ideas relating to the research problem. That means variables, all of you know that variables means the factor, different factors, what can vary. Okay, so that the previous work is there, and there must be some relationship between these variables and your ideas, your new ideas. Okay, so that is the thing. So experience survey is very important to do any good research design. For such a survey, people who are competent and can contribute new ideas may be carefully selected as respondents to ensure a representation of different types of experience. Okay, so for that you need to select some people, okay, who are very much who can contribute new ideas in that field. Okay, so that is the experience survey. That means you need the experienced people of that who can work, who actually done the previous works. Okay, so on that area, so that experienced people you need to collect, you need to select. Okay, so this is experience survey. And there is another point, there are some points, that is the respondents so selected may then be interviewed by the investigator, and interview must ensure flexibility in the sense that the respondent should be allowed to raise issues and questions which our investigator has not previously considered. Okay, so that's why we are actually getting this type of investigator. They can arise some questions what actually you did not think. Okay, so if this type of questions you are facing, then your research work will be clear. You can smoothly do your research work. Okay, so that questions need to be arise by the investigator. Okay, so that means, so that's why we required this experienced investigator. So here in our research work, we need a research guide who can guide to do this type of things, and the guide must be much more confident about that area also. Okay, then only you can get some different ideas and different methodologies from them. Okay, so it is advisable to send a copy of the questions to be discussed to the respondents well in the advance. The experience collecting interview is likely to be long and may last for few hours. Okay, so that means from this we are getting some type of interviews with the respondents, and from those interviews we can collect so many data also. Okay, so we can collect so many experience. We can experience, we can get much more experience from that also, and this will give an opportunity to the respondents to for doing some advanced thinking over the various issues involved, so that at the time of interview they may be able to contribute effectively. Okay, so there are different type of informations or various issues can be involved there, and this type of things they must means know about that, and they can arise this type of questions or different types of they can contribute different types of ideas at the interview. So when you are getting getting some person, you are selecting some persons through interviews, maybe you are selecting some selected persons, but you can enrich your ideas through those interviews also. So that is experience survey. There is another thing, that is analysis of insight stimulating. That is analysis of insight stimulating example is also a fruitful method for suggesting hypothesis for researcher. This is also important. Different hypothesis you can hypothetical values you can use for your research work, and this method consists of the intensive study of selected instances of the phenomenon in which one is interested. So that is the insight stimulating, that means the inner different inner operations. Okay, insight views, insight means what is suppose you are doing some research work and there are some analytical points also. Okay, so you should analyze your research regarding some hypothetical values. So and there are some different study according to the different instances of the phenomenon. Different means phenomenon can be occurred according to the situations, according to the your surroundings. The research work can be means you can analyze your research work. So you can analyze the insight stimulating, what is actually the different stimulating factor is actually involved in your research work, that should be analyzed. For this purpose of the existing records, if any may be examined, the unstructured interviewing may take place or some other approach may be adopted. So here you can get some interview, different types of interviews you can follow, or different existing records you can follow. Okay, so this is the analysis of insight stimulating, and so these are what exploratory research design. Now descriptive research design. So descriptive research studies are those studies which are concerned with describing the characteristics of a particular individual or a group. Okay, so that is a descriptive research work, that is described by the characteristics of a particular individual or a group. A group can describe the whole thing, or a particular means individual can describe the thing, and the researcher must be able to define clearly what he wants to measure and must find adequate methods for measuring it along with the clear-cut definitions of the populations he wants to study. Okay, so here also the means populations is also coming, because you have to know about your users. So according to the users you have to analyze your research work. So researcher must be able to define clearly what he wants to measure and must find adequate methods for measuring it, what he want to measure, and they must be follow some adequate some proper methodology to know that, and it can be coming out from different survey, Okay, so from different populations they can collect different types of data. Since the aim is to obtain complete and accurate informations in the said studies, the procedure to be used must be carefully planned and the design in such studies must be rigid and not flexible. Okay, so you have to collect your data, you have to collect your informations. So there are some studies need to required, and the you need to plan it carefully, and your planning must be rigid. You must not be flexible on that. Okay, if you are designing in this way, so the design must be in that way only. Okay, you must not follow some other way. So that is the thing. And formulating the objective of the study. So descriptive is that is the formulating the objective of the study, what the study is about and why is it being made. Okay, why you are studying, that is important, and what you are actually studying, that is also important. These questions should be there. And designing the methods of data collections, how you can collect the data, what techniques of gathering the data will be adapted. So you can understand that data is main factor of any research work. Any means what type of data you are actually getting, so that is also very important thing. Okay, so this is the main thing, data collection. So collecting of data, where can be required data be found and with what time period should the data be related. So you need to know where from the data need to collect and how the data need to collect, and processing and analyzing the data and reporting the findings. So you have to process the data and you have to report what is actually you are analyzing inside the data. The said design can be appropriately referred to as a survey design, since it takes into account all the steps involved in a survey concerning a phenomenon to be studied. Okay, so this is also called a survey design, because we are collecting the data, we are collecting the informations according to the survey, and the audience, the means from the group of people who are from whom we are collecting our data, you have to select those people also. Okay, so that is also very important factor. So these are the comparison, that is research design, this is overall design, and there is sampling, statistical, observational and operational design, and these are the exploratory or formulative and descriptive of diagnostic. So different things should be there. For exploratory, if you want to do sampling design, then no probability sampling design should be there, but in case of descriptive there is a probability sampling design. For statistical design, no pre-planned design for analysis, and for descriptive there is pre-planned design for analysis. And observational design, unstructured instruments for collections of data, and descriptive there is a structured or well thought out instruments for collections of data. So you have to know the difference between these two. Okay, and operational design for exploratory, in case of exploratory no fixed decisions about the operational procedures, but in case of descriptive there is an advanced decisions about operational procedure. So these are the comparison table. Okay, so these are the design approach of exploratory and descriptive design. And for these two type of design, we need to follow different type of design also, that is sampling, statistical, observational and operational.